if you want to learn anything, I think the best thing to do is literally you just reverse engineer what you're seeing. So if I see somebody who impresses me, Sam Evans being one of them and Alex Ramosi being another, I get into all their funnels. I don't care if I'm a gym owner or not. I don't care if I'm even their customer. I just want to be in their funnel. I want to interact with their stuff.
Welcome to the Simple and Smart SEO Show podcast, where we talk all things brand building SEO, helping you connect with your audience, elevate your visibility, and grow your business. I'm your host, Waddell, here to bridge the gap between SEO strategy and real-world business success by bringing you insights, stories, and conversations from the SEO community and beyond. Whether you're an entrepreneur, marketer, or SEO enthusiast, this is your place to learn, share, and build a brand that stands out. So grab a coffee or your favorite tea, and let's dive into smarter SEO for your business. I'm here with a special guest today, Andrew Ansley. Coincidentally, I feel like I'm making friends with every Andrew on LinkedIn. So, if your name's Andrew Waddell, I guess we could be friends in the future. But Andrew, I have really enjoyed your posts on using AI and ChatGPT to do a whole bunch of things. And you had me at workflow and automation. Thank you for coming on the Simple and Smart SEO Show podcast.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we have been chit-chatting here just a little bit. And I told you that I've been listening to you this morning, with your other YouTube videos. And I will definitely link to Andrew's YouTube in the show notes. But one of the things I saw that you said before, I've seen it on your LinkedIn profile, and then I heard you repeat it. You have several jobs and several titles. And so I'm like, could you go through that and tell us what you do, what roles you have at what companies, and how you manage to do those?
Sure. I'm a consultant. So people that are needing anything with marketing strategy, SEO is probably my strongest skill set. Then I'd say after that is AI, then probably ads, copywriting, that kind of thing. But I do all sorts of stuff from automation to I own a SaaS company called Content Sprout, and I'm the head of product over there. And the way that I do everything, honestly, is that I can't do everything as well as I would like to do. So unfortunately, my software company, it has been this journey where I just did not have the time to try to train and find good developers. I had decent developers, but I've been spending the past 4 months learning development. That's been my hobby. So I basically stopped all my other fun activities and just said, all right, time to learn Python.
I totally love that. I bought a Python book myself from Barnes & Noble.
Sweet.
Yeah. And I listened to a whole Python book on Audible because
that sounds boring.
I was trying to get my prior learning up because I knew that if I read the book, but I didn't have any sort of frame of reference for it, the only frame of reference I've had up to this point is the code that I've seen in my Shopify store. So I was so now I'm starting to make little connections. But I love that. You're learning programming. I'm learning programming. It's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's super fun. I have a school group and I have a business partner. His name's Hanson. We do everything together. So other than my consulting stuff. And in school, we're just helping people with everything that I said that we can help with. Automations, go high level, how to code with AI, you name it. We are trying to just bring anyone who is an aspiring marketer or a business owner into kind of the modern era of what we believe marketing will be, which is a more technical marketer that only needs beginner knowledge in a lot of areas. I'll call them soft skills, because AI will be the thing that makes you have the hard skill. So as long as you have a soft skill of operating the machine in a certain way, boom, now you're a coder and you don't even need to be a master of code. So that's what I'm focused on right now.
Okay, so tell me really quickly about this school.
Yeah. So school is owned by Alex Ramosi. For those that don't know, it's co-owned by him and Sam Evans, which Sam Evans is a guy that I learned a lot from with his copywriting. Just as an aside, if you want to learn anything, I think the best thing to do is literally you just reverse engineer what you're seeing. So if I see somebody who impresses me, Sam Evans being one of them and Alex Ramosi being another, I get into all their funnels. I don't care if I'm a gym owner or not. I don't care if I'm even their customer. I just want to be in their funnel. I want to interact with their stuff. I will listen to their videos. I write down their stuff. So when I saw that school was something that they created, I said, yeah, let's try it out. So I've got 200 students right now. And basically, we do 3 different things: automate marketing using AI and go high level, reduce 10 plus hours of work per week. And this is basically using N8N, which is a free version of Zapier. It's free if you can set up the server. and then attract a steady flow of clients. So those are the things that seem to be like the main pain points for agencies and for business owners. At first, I was trying to do things that was like helping people scale, but so many people, they're not even in a place where the struggle is scale. Their struggle is how do I just get leads? And they're spending time doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And it's fun. It's not necessarily like a hassle for them. But ultimately, what held me back as an agency owner was I was spending too much time on things like keyword research and different SEO tasks. And I needed to be more in the driver's seat of the agency. I needed to actually be doing the things that no one else could do. Because ultimately, those tasks, those keyword research tasks and other stuff, I could easily outsource that. I could create an SOP. In a week, I could probably get somebody up to speed. And then I can now focus on other things. So my goal is to get people to do that, to automate. We don't need to train people now. If you don't want, I would say that at a certain point you'll need to. But I'd say you can scale pretty high now with just AI. I imagine if you wanted to get super nitty gritty, you could get scale to the moon. I'm sure there's going to be a $1 billion company, one person company at some point. But for now, I'd say you could get to 10 million just with AI and with no other employees, maybe one employee. And that solves a lot of problems that a lot of people have, which is usually hiring and managing. So if you can remove the hiring and managing, that's a huge weight off your shoulders.
I hope my dad's listening right now because we have this conversation all of the time. Like he is in lawn care and lawn
Oh,
service.
yeah.
He's been in it for 40 years. And my brother wants to bring in robot mowers. And so I'm like,
Wow.
that
Okay.
that solves every problem I've ever heard about the last 20 years of my life
Yep.
about the hiring and managing and just the turnover. And seasonal work is hard to keep really great people. It's just
Yep.
a difficult business to hire. And it's so funny that you said that. So, Dad, we're going to talk about this after the podcast is over. So,
Yes.
but what I really want to pick your brain about today is how you use ChatGPT to do all sorts of different things. And I was watching you walk us through your thought process on your YouTube channel with that 5-step social media content for a month thing. I don't know. That was one of the things I watched this morning. And I'm very much like you. I want to understand like your thought process behind how you did it. And so I appreciated how you broke that down because then I recognize it in my own work. Okay, I do that too. And this is how I could make it better. But one thing that you said was you don't want to cloud up the thought process. So as you're brainstorming with ChatGPT, what do you mean by that? You don't want to cloud up the process.
Yeah. So people, if you are, I wouldn't say necessarily a power user, but you're using it a decent bit. I'd say that typically what that means is you're interacting with it, having conversations, and you're like, hey, sound more human. Stop that. That's bad. No, more this, less that kind of thing. So when you do that, that is oftentimes it's stuffing the context window with a lot of stuff. So ultimately, what I want is you can do that conversation. You can go back and forth. Once you get to the result, though, the original prompt that I had was so I said, write a social post. Let's say it was bad. It took me 6 prompts more. Now I'm finally at the end result. I delete everything other than the final result and the initial prompt that I gave. So in its mind now, I have no other, it's in a clear line of how it's thinking. It's, hey, create a social post. And as far as it knows, this is what a social post is. And now I don't need to have all of that other context in there. It's just, it's cleaner. It helps preserve its ability to be sharp. So, especially if you want a long conversation, let's say longer conversations are things like social media strategy or maybe an SEO strategy, you can get really good output. But the longer that conversation goes, it will really start to deteriorate. Think of it as like an erratic sort of thing. You just want it to go straight. And that's what I try to go for.
And what it really made me think about are the times that I've went deeper and deeper, and pretty soon there's no application to what I very first started out. It's like, how did I end up here? I'm just like completely lost.
Yep.
I didn't think about the fact or realize that you could delete and start that conversation. So that's such a simple thing that I think will really benefit people in SEO. The next thing you talked about, I can make an SOP and train somebody in a week for keyword research. Can you do that same thing like using ChatGPT?
Oh, you could do it in an hour. Like it's pretty darn good. So my latest YouTube video, this 10-minute video is me going over how to basically train the AI and 10 minutes or less, or 30 minutes or less, I think is the idea. So what I love is, first off, I will say that last month I bought the ChatGPT Pro, which is $200. I canceled my subscription completely after that. I do like Pro. We can talk about that more, but I just bought Claude. I've been using Claude as an API, but I use Claude's version, Anthropic's little tool or desktop thing. It's so much better. It is so far ahead of ChatGPT in so many ways. I still have both subscriptions now. One, Claude it really cuts you off. You don't get to talk much, but I like how it uses the project files more. And ChatGPT just added this. So I guess for both, it's going to be similar. So I'll say, this is how you train. I'll talk about the areas that are similar. One, you create a project. That project is going to be designated just for the thing you want. Don't go and create projects that are SEO projects and then all of your SEO tasks. I would narrow it down, and then you have a keyword research project and it only does keyword research. Maybe then you might have a technical analysis one or a data analysis one. You could do all sorts of stuff. But the point is, you need a project, and then you're going to upload files. These files, you can either just write your own text or upload a PDF, whatever you want. And then it uses and leverages those. So if I have an example output, if I have a whole SOP, I'll just put that in there. I also put information about me or my clients. I make one of these for each of the people that I consult with. That way I can have, all right, it knows exactly their name. It knows their unique value proposition. I build out the ICP profile, which is the ideal customer. And then once it has all of that stuff, you'd also ideally want to get like your unique perspective on stuff. So now we have perspective, we have the business information, we have the SOP, and then we have a little bit of context just in the project itself. So 4 little pieces, and then it takes about 30 minutes to set up. After that, you could just prompt, and then you have a much better output. Here's where Claude gets better though. Claude allows you to customize the style on top. So now I can actually customize the response types as like after everything else we've done. It's like this layer on top. So now I could say, all right, I'm going to give it a bunch of copywriting examples. And now it's just a simple toggle where all I have to do is hit the style, toggle, select, okay, I'm in my SEO projects. For this one, maybe I'm doing topic maps, or maybe the next thing I'm doing a specific kind of keyword clustering or whatever it is. And then it'll just do it so much better in the exact format that you want it to do it in. So that's what I mean is it's so easy to do. It's very easy to set up, and it just, man, you could probably at that point, if you really needed to, I'd say what I've noticed is you can either hire a VA to just smooth things over, or you could just spend maybe an extra hour or two and really refine. What I've noticed in all areas of life is it's pretty quick. Once you get decent at something, it's quick to get to the 90% completion mark. It takes a while to get to the 100%, and it gets boring. Your progress slows down. And so that's kind of your option. I'm an AI fanatic, so I try to automate everything completely, but hopefully that answers it.
Yeah, that's so funny that you described it like that because, yeah, it's so fun when you're building. But then, like you said, when you get to that 90th percentile and it gets boring, that's usually when my brain goes, yeah, I'm done with this. I want to work on something new.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So you touched on this. And my question was like, why is it important to narrow it down and focus on one category at a time? And you did a great job of giving us that example with SEO, like not just saying create an SEO strategy. It's like create the elements one at a time and then create particular SOP or give me output for this particular element of the SEO strategy. And I've noticed that too, that giving one prompt or just working on one thing with ChatGPT is so much better than trying to do multiple things at one time.
So much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing I think a lot of people forget or just don't realize is I think there's a magic to what we're experiencing right now where AI can just, you could just say, write an email, do this, and it just does it. Yeah, it can, but ultimately you got to understand it's trained on really generalist data across the whole internet. So it gives it incredible magic-like abilities, but you have no control over what it believes to be a good email, what it believes to be a good strategy, what it understands about every concept. So my number one tip for people using ChatGPT who really want to turn this tool into something that makes real business impacts is You need to start paying attention to abstract concepts that you're giving the AI. Abstract concept is something that is like a strategy, SEO strategy. Write an email. That is an abstract concept. All of these things are abstract. And you cannot let the AI make a decision on what those abstract concepts mean. You have to define it. And then if you give it an example, that's even better. Then you could layer in maybe a template. You could templatize, hey, here's the definition, here's the example, and here's a template for how you can probably execute this for yourself. And I'll just put little brackets or something, but that's if you want to go super hard with it. You could just do a definition and an example, and then you're pretty good. You don't need to do much else, no fancy anything. But I think a lot of people just skip that step and they just assume that the AI understands what they're talking about.
Yeah. And I think that idea of a template too is difficult because so many times it feels like we have to create something absolutely brand new every time. And then it's like a light goes off. Oh my gosh, I can make a template for this and not have to reinvent the wheel every single time I do this. And then to do that, even without a large language model, first of all, is a huge aha. And then to realize
Mhm.
you can do it with a large language model, then it's really gets exciting and like scary, happy, exciting as well.